Hi, ladies.
Hello, Kristin.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Good. We're gonna have to wait because a lot of people couldn't get on because the class before me ran late. So. There you are, Steve. Sorry about that.
No worries.
We're just gonna wait a few minutes because people couldn't get on. Hi, Lauren. Steve, have you taken this class before? I can't remember.
I have. I'm listening to you and the growth call at the same time.
Oh my God. Great.
I have,
you
but
want.
you know, I need a refresher because I had abandoned doing farming for a while. So
Okay, so you were doing it before?
yes,
Okay, and so you're gonna pick up the same farm or you think you're gonna switch farms?
I don't know. In the past 2 years, I think only one property has sold in the 3 different neighborhoods that I was farming.
How long did you farm in there for?
Probably at least 2 years.
Did you do the math at the beginning to see if the numbers worked before you started the farm?
No,
Okay. I'm just
I like them.
curious if you did. You like them?
I like the neighborhoods, and no one moves. So
Yeah. Well, that's why you have to pick the right farm so that you're not in that position where it's like,
Yep.
okay, nothing's selling and then you're wasting your time.
mhm.
Awesome. So Lauren, welcome. I'm Kristin. I don't think we've met.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You too. Are you in Norwell?
Yes.
You're in the Awesome. All right. To see a Dawn, am I going to be able to see your faces that are not in a photo?
Mhm.
Yeah, yay. So much more fun for me this way. Thank
I'm
you.
back
Oh,
in
you're
the
driving.
Yeah, so I'll be back in and out.
Okay, yeah, you drive. Don't worry about this. All right. Awesome. All right, well, we'll get started since we're running a little late. So this is a farming class. Are any of you besides Steve, have you farmed before? Have you not done it? Do you know what it is? Are you curious what it is? Where are you?
I know what it is, but I haven't done it. Well, sort of, but not really. I haven't.
Who's that, Lauren?
Lauren.
Okay, you're frozen. Okay, gotcha. So, okay, so you know what it is, but you haven't done it.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
want to do my neighborhood. I want to farm my neighborhood.
okay, and you haven't done it yet.
I have not, no.
Okay, awesome. All right. So this class is pretty much like a beginner's class for farming, kind of what it is, and how you do it. And I also have scripts here. And I'll upload them afterwards. Just remind me, I'll upload them in here. Scripts and kind of like an 8x8, if you will. We'll talk about that in a second of what to do and how to do it. And if you follow that, then you should be fine with the farming. Now, farming is not something where you're like, oh, I'm going to farm today and think you're going to get a listing tomorrow. It takes time and it takes money. It's not free. Okay. You can do it as inexpensive as possible by making more phone calls and like door knocking and doing that kind of thing. However, it takes time and it does take some money. Okay. This is not like a get rich quick thing, but you can get rich if you do it right. You just have to be patient. Okay. It's kind of like farming, like for vegetables, you know, you have to do the soil and then you got to put your, you know, whatever you're planting in there, and then you got to water it and have sun and all that. And then finally something grows. So it's the same exact thing. And that's really why they call it farming, because you have to really, you know, touch on the people in the farm, build the relationships with them so that when they think about selling, they think about you as being the neighborhood expert. Okay. So what is a farm? Okay, I'll talk. All right. It's a lead generating technique for real estate. Okay, selecting a physical area or group of people, then patiently and consistently nurturing the relationship to one day yield a harvest of sellers and buyer clients and an active referral base. So the key words here are patiently and consistently, nurturing, relationships. Okay, those are the you know the words that you want to really focus on, because it does take patience and you need to be consistent. I have seen agents before who start farming and they farm and farm and farm, and then they just decide to stop it, and then all of a sudden all these houses bing 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 start coming on the market. It's because they just quit too early. Okay, now I have, and by me, I mean, I got this from Rich Lannon when I took his class when I joined. There's a mathematical kind of equation that you want to look at to make sure that you're picking the right farm, so that you don't just say, well, I like this because, you know, I grew up here, or whatever the case is, or it's convenient for me, and then have it not be worth your while. Okay. So how does it work? So I have a farm right now. It's in my neighborhood. And the reason it's in my neighborhood is because the math worked out. And obviously it's convenient for me because I live here. So I live in a 209 home subdivision in Rockland called Millbrook. I have done a ton of business, like over $20 million worth of volume in this neighborhood. And honestly, this is from the last time I taught this class. Probably, I haven't refigured out all the calculations of what I've sold since. So it's probably much higher than that. I have a listing on the market in there right now, and I'm getting another one tonight. So, and it's because I have farmed in here for so long that people just call me. Okay. So this is the way that you want to kind of make sure that you're in the right farm. Okay. So you want to have a 7.5% turnover rate in the last 12 months. 7.5% turnover rate in the past 12 months. Okay. So what does that mean? For every 100 homes in the farm, you want to have 7 to 8 sales in the last 12 months. So I have 100 homes, 7 to 8 sales in the last 12 months. Okay. Ideally. Now I have 209 homes. When I did the math on this, I had 7 sales for 209 homes. So technically it's half of what this is, right? However, I was like, if I get 2 sales a year in here, I don't care. That's better than none. You know what I mean? And because I lived here, it was like, that's fine. I'll do it. So the math at that moment didn't work exactly to this, but I said, you know what? I'm going to take the risk and do it, because there's 8 sales there's 8 homes that sold out of 200. If I got 4 of the 8, great. I'll take 4. It's work. It makes sense for me to do that. So that's why I did that. So if you find that like it's convenient for you and you feel that like as the time goes on, the numbers will work out that way, then great. Okay. Consistently in here, we probably have like maybe 8 every year, probably 8 to like maybe 12 homes sell a year in here. And it still makes sense to do it. Okay. So you want to keep that in mind.
Why does everybody want to leave?
Oh, because a lot of the people, so a couple things. So houses that have sold in here tend to those certain houses tend to just keep turning over for like, job things
Right.
or, relocation, whatever.
Right.
Some of the people like that I'm selling right now, they've been here since the houses were built. Their
Mhm.
kids are grown up, they're
Right.
adult children, they have grandchildren. Like, I don't need this big house anymore. So
Right.
that's really who, or if they get divorced, that's happened, that kind of thing. So that's really pretty much why people will move out. And right now, I mean, shit, the market's great. Why not?
Sure.
If you're
Sure.
thinking about doing it, do it now, right? So again, ideally, that's what you want to look for. Now, you can look in a neighborhood like I have, or you can do streets. So like if you're in a town that doesn't necessarily have neighborhoods, but they have streets like, I don't know, Juniper Lane and Wall Street and I don't know, whatever. If they're all different streets and they're near each other, you just take the streets and look at what the turnover is between that group of streets. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. So you're going to have to do your research and you're going to have to take your time doing the research and look at it from all angles. So take your time, because if you take your time now, it's going to be worth it in the end. Okay. Remember, no one agent has 100% of, the houses for sale in their farm. So as you know, Nicole Condon sells in here. She has friends that live in here. So of course they're going to use her and not me, Bill Stone has sold in here before because he helped the buyer come in and then the buyer sold. So you're not going to have everything, the 100%. There's going to be other maybe agents that live in your farm, that they're going to sell. They have friends, whatever. So if you don't get it, so what? Big deal. Okay. Don't let that like hold you up. It's definitely worth your time and effort. And you also want to look at the average sales price to see if it's worthwhile. If you're going to be doing like a mobile home park and they're like $70,000 a transaction.
Oh no, where'd you go?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Ooh, the internet connection's unstable. So,
You should
so you
move.
want to be, so yeah, right. Good
That's why they
realtor?
move.
Yeah, right? I could see you. I was fine. So, you want to make sure that the price point makes sense. Now, people's knee-jerk reactions like, well, I'll go into a neighborhood that's, $1 million, $10 million homes. They don't tend to move that often. And if they do, they probably have an agent that they've worked with since they were a first-time home buyer. So the odds of you getting that just to break into that as a farm area isn't as, the percentages are low. Okay. So, I would say between the 3s and 4s is good, even if you could find houses 3s and 4s anymore, but probably 4s to 6s would probably be a better spot to be in. Okay. All right. How do I start farming? So what you want to do, first of all, is you want to figure out what streets you want to farm. Okay. So if it's a neighborhood, what are all the streets in that neighborhood? If it's a condo complex, okay, great. We obviously know the address of that condo complex, right? Or if it's, maybe an area that has all like, first-time home buyer type of homes, you can do that too. So you can do addresses, streets, or you can do a group of people. So like you could farm to like first-time home buyers. You could farm to people that own condos. You could farm to renters. So it doesn't mean they're all in the same area. They could be spread out throughout, okay? You could farm to builders. You could farm to people that own waterfront properties. So it doesn't necessarily have to be all of them together on the same streets. Does that make sense? Okay. So you want to figure out who you want to farm to and get all their names and addresses and phone numbers, okay? There are different services like Spokio or Coal Directory, whatever, that you can get these names and addresses and phone numbers. Obviously, the names and addresses are easy because they're in MLS. The phone numbers are a whole different animal, but don't get caught up on that. You're not going to get everyone's email address. You're not going to get everyone's phone numbers. I don't have everybody's phone number that lives in Millbrook, and I really honestly don't care. Less people I have to call. Okay, but you want to try to get as many as you can. Okay. And then you want to put them into some type of contact management system or on an Excel spreadsheet. That's how I started doing it. I just put everybody on an Excel spreadsheet, would have their name, their address, their phone number, email, whatever I could get. Okay. And then you want to start putting them on what's called an 8x8. What is an 8x8? What is an 8x8? Who read the MREA book?
8 touches.
Yep. How often?
I don't know. I didn't read that far apparently.
Okay.
Is it once a
Steve?
week for 8 touches?
Yep, 8 touches once a week for 8 weeks.
Right.
That's an 8x8. Okay. So now understand this. I'm actually, Justin O'Connor's doing it right now. I've talked to him about this a lot because he wants to start farming. So he's been doing, you know, what I've suggested. So you can always reach out to him if you think you want to kind of ask his opinion on how it goes. I've taught this class a gazillion times, and I will tell you this. If you really truly want to do this, then you need to prep everything ahead of time for your 8x8 before you even start it. Because I will tell you, after week 1, you're all jazzed up and you send out your first mailing and you write this letter and you're like, oh yay, and you send it out. If you don't have week 2 and 3 and 4 all set up by then, a week will go by so fast and you'll be like, oh my God, I got to make calls. And then now it's week 3 and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even call from last week and I didn't mail out. I don't even know what to put together for my next week because life gets in the way. So what I suggest is and I'm going to show you what this is, but I'm just telling you now, I would get, well, really 4 buckets, but I usually just say like kind of 8 buckets, if you will, right? And you'll have your first one will be your letter, and you'll have your letter written up, signed, you'll have your addresses on it, postcards, stamps, everything. The second week, you're going to make a phone call, so you don't need anything for that, but you need your script. Then the third week, you're going to do another mailing, then a call, then another mailing, okay? So I'm going to show you that. But every time you got to do a mailing or a door knock or whatever you choose to do, have everything ready. Have the postcard done, have the letter done, have whatever you're going to door knock with done ahead of time, and make sure all the stamps are on there. So you've already put all the money into it and all the time. So then that way, when that week comes, if you have to mail something out, you literally just take it out of your bucket and just put it in the mailbox. Okay. Because I will promise you, the week will go by so fast and you'll be like, I don't know what to do. What should I do? What kind of postcard? And now you're 5 weeks in, and that 8x8 is no longer an 8x8. Okay. They did a study once, and I can't remember the guy's name, but they had this guy, we'll just call him John Smith. Okay. I know that's like a really unique name. So let's call him John Smith. So they actually did this marketing campaign into this farm, and they kept sending out mailings with this guy, John Smith, from this real estate company. Now, he didn't even exist. He wasn't even a real person, but they just put someone's face there, called him whoever, and they sent it out. Then they called all of the people that got the mailing, and they said, hey, we're doing a survey. If you were to pick a real estate agent to help list your home, who would you pick? And they all said John Smith, because they were bombarded 8 weeks, once a week, by this guy's stuff. And so that's who came to mind, and he didn't even exist. So it's really important that you literally stay on the 8x8. If you're not going to do it, that's totally fine. Don't farm. You know what I mean? Don't do it. It's either for you or it's not for you. Okay. Because it does take time. Okay. All right. So like I said before, you can do different types of farms. So you can do farms targeted by, where they live, like what county they're in, what state they're in, what subdivision, neighborhood, what streets they're on. Okay. You could target by age. You could say, oh, I want to work with the seniors, or something. You could do it by gender. You could do it by net income. You could do it by occupation. You could do it based on their language. If you speak more than one language, you could do it based on who speaks, I don't know, whatever, Italian, Japanese, whatever. Okay. You could also do it by, what type of interests they have or hobbies they have or lifestyle. Like maybe you want to market to people that, belong to a golf club, like different golfers or, different lifestyles. Maybe there's the yacht club or whatever. So, investors, condos, like I said before. So there's different groups of people that you can choose to farm. Okay. So you want to find out what's going to work best for you. Okay. Maybe pet friendly, You know, if you want to work with people that have pets, you know, that kind of stuff. First time home buyers is another one if you just want to work with first time home buyers. Okay. So what you want to consider is what your goals are for the farm, like how much business you want to do, what your budget is on how much money you can spend for the year, spend per month. Okay. The size of your farm. Is it 100 people? Is it 200 people? Is it 1 million people? There are a lot of KW agents in our company who literally, they farm a whole town or towns, like they do the whole town, like thousands and thousands of people. And if you want to do that, awesome, do it. You just got to make sure you get the budget. What the location is. Are these people have or haven't met? Or are they a mixture? Are they people that you have no idea who any of them are? Do you know all of them? Or do you know some of them and not all of them? Okay. Your average sales price, what's that? What the turnover rate is, like we talked about, 7.5% for every 100. What the market conditions are. What your competition is. So like, for instance, I'll use me as an example. If you were going to come in and start farming Millbrook, don't, but it's not going to be worth it. I've been doing it, gosh, since 2009, and I started it when I came to Keller Williams, and it's just going to be a waste of time. I live here and everybody knows it. Okay. So it doesn't make sense. If you go into a neighborhood where when you're looking up MLS on what's selling, if it's the same agent most of the time, they either live there or they do farm there to some degree. So is it really worth trying to break in? Now, Dakota Riley did do that with Weymouthport. There was a woman that lived in there, an older woman who lived there, and she literally owned that place. Well, Dakota lived there too. And she did this back in, I don't know, 08, okay? So she was like, I live here too, whatever, I'm gonna do it. And slowly but surely, she finally took it over. And the woman ended up passing away. That's just the story. And now she owns the condo complex, okay? So she took the risk doing it. It wasn't anybody from our office or our company. And so she went for it. Now she, you know, it worked out for her, okay? But again, you want to see who it is that's doing a lot of business in there and then decide, do I want to go up against that person and do it? Or should I just find another farm area? Okay. Like Rich Lannon Farms, Randy Parker Farms, I Farm, Dakota Farms. I think that's really it from our office. And as far as Norwell, I don't know who farms in Norwell. So there's plenty of opportunity out there to farm. Okay. So you really want to look at your competition. If you see that there's a lot of turnover in your neighborhood or streets or whatever, and it's like, Steve sold one, Lauren sold one, Steve sold one, Don sold one, like, you know, well, we'll pretend we don't work in the same company, but even if we did, whatever, if each, you know, this one sold this, that one sold that, then there's no one farming that area. So go for it, because there's a turnover there, right? And nobody really owns it, if you will. Okay. And then are you the right fit for the farm? So like, I'm not going to farm an area where they speak Mandarin because I can't speak Mandarin. So that would be foolish for me to do that. So you want to make sure that, can you fit, is that farm a good fit for you? Make sense? So far, so good? Awesome. Steve's listening to the growth call. It must be really important right now, what they're saying. All right. He probably can't hear me. Okay. So, building trust and recognition. So this is something that's really important because, again, it's all about relationships, right? So you want to make sure that you're marketing to these people aggressively, okay? And you're focusing on them for everything that you do. So you want to, when you get listings, you want to market to everybody. Hey, I got a new listing. When they sell, hey, I got the listing sold and this is what it sold for, okay? When you're doing open houses, invite them to open houses. You can do mailings to them. You can call them, okay? If you're doing like a seminar or having an event, or maybe you're going to have like an ice cream truck come into the neighborhood, invite everybody, you know, really focus on those people, okay? Get to know them, door knock, If you don't want to door knock, don't. I never did and I never will, and that's fine. If you like to do that, go for it. Okay? Get to know the people. If you have a dog, you know, or I guess the dog's the only thing you would walk. But you know, walk around the neighborhood, meet the people. Okay? If there's a for sale by owner or expired listing in there, you know, give them a call. Let them know you're the neighborhood expert and you can help them. You know, if you live in that neighborhood or live in that town, it's great to let people know that, you know, hey, I'm a local realtor. I live in this neighborhood, or I live in this town, or I grew up on that street. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So next thing you want to do is create a calendar. So you can do it, you know, on paper, you can do it on Google, whatever you want to do, and kind of map out what you want to do for the year ahead of time. Because again, time flies when you're having fun, right? So you want to make sure that, you know, you are hitting your goals each month. Because if like you say you want to do, let's say in January, you say, okay, I'm going to do a year in review. Like that's something that I do. So in December, I'll figure out all the homes that sold in the farm, what the address was, when it sold, how many beds, bathrooms, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then I do what's called a year in review, and I mail that out in January every year. If I didn't have that planned out and then it's like March, what am I going to do, a year in review in March? Kind of missed the boat, right? So really figure out what you want to do and plan ahead. You don't have to send everything out once a month, but ideally you do want to send something out once a month. Okay, so like a mailing once every month. So figure out what you're actually going to do, because when the month comes, it's going to take you all month to think about what kind of content you're going to send out. Okay. If you're going to make your calls, at least at the minimum, I say do 6 mailings a year. Okay, 1 every other month at minimum. Okay.
I have a quick question. Is this after the initial 8x8?
Yes. Yep. So this first 8x8, which I promise we'll get to, and then after that, we'll put them on what's called a 12 direct, and a 12 direct is once a month, every month. Okay. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about now, 12 direct. Okay.
I have a question too. How do I market myself as the neighborhood expert when I'm brand new?
You just call them and tell them you are.
You just fake it till you make it.
You just read the script I'm going to give you. That's
Okay.
it. That's it. Hey,
Okay.
I mean, you know, I mean, again, I wouldn't go pick a place in Boston and say I'm the neighborhood expert, because I don't know anything about that and I don't really want to know and I don't care, right? But if you live in the town or the neighborhood, like, you know things, or you'll do your research and you'll figure it out. So don't be afraid of the word expert, you know, like go with it.
Yeah.
Or I'm the
My
realtor of
neighborhood's great.
choice. What's that?
Right. My
Yeah.
neighborhood is great. It's a lot of family homes, and I am kind of an expert because I've lived here so long. My husband bought the house with my mother-in-law. My husband knows the neighborhood, so I guess in that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't think about it as, well, I haven't done any transactions yet. That's in our heads, not theirs. They don't care, you know, just be there, be confident. And they're not going to ask you how many homes have you sold. I've never had anybody ask me that ever. And if they do, be honest. And if you don't get the deal, if you don't get the transaction, who cares? Move on. People don't tend to ask that question, but yet we think that they're going to ask it all the time. Has anyone else been asked that question?
I have, actually.
Have you?
And it was my first listing visit that I went to.
Were you nervous when you went to it?
No, because I
You
know the
pretty
person, so maybe
Uh-huh.
that's what they asked, because I have had a relationship with them in the past, so maybe.
Oh, yeah. And if you're friends and they know, like, hey, I just got my license yesterday, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're marketing yourself or letting people know that, then obviously they're going to know you're new, and they may be like, well, how many deals have you done? And you're like, none. And that's fine. But like, strangers aren't really normally going to ask you that, you know? And if they do, who cares? Just say, you know what? Everyone's going to start. You'd be my first client, and I promise you, you're going to be my only client. I'm going to take care of you from start to finish, and I'll be available to you whenever you need it. So choose me instead of working with Steve, who's got 100 deals going on at once. Okay.
I wish.
All right. Okay. So you want to work smarter, not harder, right? So what you want to find in the farm area is what I call bird dogs or your core advocates. Who are those people? Who would those people be?
I would like a retired person who knows everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah, somebody that knows everybody and everyone's business. Find that person.
So a Karen. No.
So a Karen, find a Karen. So yeah, so when you're making your calls, you'll find out very quickly who they are, because when you call and tell them who you are and what you're looking for, they'll be like, oh my God, and Susie down the street, Mark, they're getting divorced, but don't tell them I said this, blah, 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 blah. And they'll just go on and on and on. Great. Take note. And then make sure you're always calling them and sending them a note, because they'll tell you everything that's going on in the neighborhood. Okay. You always want to get permission. Hey, if I called Karen, or I forget what name I said she was now already, but if I call so-and-so, can I tell them that I got their number from you? Now, sometimes they don't want to. They just want to be the nosy one. They don't want to tell, they'll let you know, but they don't want the other person to know that they know to tell you. So you'll have to ask permission first. Don't just say, oh yeah, Bob told me that you're getting divorced. I mean, you'd never say that anyways, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want to just say, hey, Bob told me that you're thinking about selling when Bob didn't give you permission. Okay. All right. And then core advocates, people that maybe you have helped sell the home that they in that neighborhood before, or helped them buy something. People that really will tell everyone, hey, yeah, you know what, Tassia is a great agent. You should use her. Or somebody that would always call you and be like, hey, Lauren, I just heard that so-and-so is thinking about moving because their kids are grown up. You may want to give them a call. Okay. That just happened to one of the houses, the 2 Morningside that I have on the market. She's like, hey, this house over here, she's thinking about selling. And she doesn't know yet, she's thinking about it. I said, okay, can I send her a note card saying that I talked to you? She's like, yeah, go ahead. So I sent her a note card and said, hey, I talked to Judy, blah, blah, blah. She told me to think about selling. And I sent it to her. Why not, right? All right. Okay. So come from contribution. So always have something of value or give something of value. If it's not a value to you, it's probably not a value to them. So when you're thinking about content, make it like, is it going to be worth it to them? Like I always go back to the, maybe because I don't cook, I always go back to the recipe thing. And I think it's more because the recipes are always gross food. It's like, you're really going to send, and we're realtors. We're not chefs. Why are we sending out, recipe cards? But that was a thing way back in the day. Remember, Steve?
I do.
So, think of it something as content. I mean, obviously market statistics is something that people want to know. They want to know what's sold. They want to know what's on the market, right? They may want to have like home tips or whatever. Command has, different things in there. You can Google different ideas. There's a bunch of different places like Reminder Media and different websites that have content already done, and you can see what you like and use what they have. You can also, copy someone else's stuff and just do it yourself. Like I said, and make it in Command. Okay. All right. All righty. So I'm going to share my screen. Oops. Can you see that? Can you see the 8x8?
Yes.
Oh, there.
I'm just going to move you guys around here because you're. Oops. Hold on one second. I like to see you guys all like on the top together. So.
Yeah, I just moved you guys there too.
Yeah. So you always come down in a row. So I have to kind of slide you up here. It always is a pain. Now I'm just getting you to go that way. Sorry, guys. Ugh. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. All right, whatever. You can be on the side. Okay. So excuse me while I look not in at you guys and not in the camera. Okay, so this is a sample 8x8. And like I said, just play along here. You don't have to write it all down because I'll just share it with you in this group afterwards and you can download it, okay? So the first week a letter of introduction or a postcard. So this would be something saying, hey, my name is Kristin Buker. You know, I work at Keller Williams Realty. I've been in real estate for blah, blah, blah. If you want to say that, you don't have to. You know, and then just on about like, hey, I'm one of your neighbors. I live at da, 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 whatever you want to do as an introductory letter. Make sure it's only one page, a couple paragraphs, nothing crazy, because you know, nobody reads anything. Okay. So don't waste your time thinking you're going to write a novel, because no one cares. It's just a matter of just getting something out there. Okay. I always like the letter of introduction first. That's just me. If you want to put like a small introduction on a note card, a postcard, that's fine. But it's totally up to you on what you want to do. All right. So remember I said about the buckets. So week 1 is a mailer. Week 3 is a mailer. Week 4 is a mailer. Week 6 is a mailer. Week 7's a mailer. Okay. So what I say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 different either mailers or door knocking or whatever you want to do. Okay. So we need at least 5 buckets. Okay. Where we're going to get everything done ahead of time. So week 1's a mailer. We're going to do our introduction letter. We're going to put a stamp on it. We're going to address them. We're going to put them in a bucket. Week 3, if we decide to do door knocking, what are we door knocking with? Are we door knocking with a flyer? What's it going to say? Are we going to door knock with, you know, the seeds, you know, like sunflower seeds, or what am I, you know, is it a flag? What is it that I'm going to door knock with? Make sure I buy all those things, have it ready, know what I'm gonna say. And then the next bucket for week 4. Okay, what am I gonna do? What's the postcard gonna say? What's the content? Have it done, all stamped, ready to go. Okay, so have it all ready so that what you can do is say, all right, if I mail this out on Friday, if I put this in the mailbox on Friday, they should get it by Monday. If they get it by Monday, I can start calling Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Does that make sense? Because once you say send something out, the next week you have to make a phone call. Are we all on the same page? Okay. So when you do week 1, I'm going to put it in, I'm going to take it out Friday morning. It's going to go in the mailbox. I'm going to wait till Monday. They're going to get it. On Tuesday, I start week 2 calls. So I'm going to start calling. I'm going to start calling everybody's like, hey, did you get, because it's going to take you days to call. Okay. You could wait a whole week in between and start your calls the following week. You could do that too, which is kind of really breaks it out for the 8 weeks. But just depends on how quick you want to get this done. Okay. So Friday, they get it. Then if you want, you can start the following Monday making all your calls. Then on that Friday, then you send out mailer week 3. Then you start calls. Then the next Friday you do week 4. Makes sense? So they're going to get something once a week. So they're probably going to get it on the Monday or Tuesday. Does that make sense?
Yes, if you don't have people's phone numbers, do you just send them another mailer?
You just don't call them that week.
Okay.
You don't have to double up on anything. They just won't hear from you if you don't have their number. So again, you're not going to get everybody's number, and that's fine. Just call the numbers that you can get. Okay.
Kristin, when you call, if you get a voicemail, do you leave this message or do you not leave a message?
I leave a message. Everyone has their different philosophy. I leave a message because I want them to hear my voice, and I want them to know that I called. They're not going to know that I called if I just hang up. Right. I really don't care if they don't call me back, to be honest, unless they are going to list their house or have a friend. Mm-hmm. I just want them to know that this is me and this is who I am, and I want to be top of mind. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So week 2, this is the script. Rachel, could you get the puppy, please? Sorry.
That's the script.
Okay. I get listings all the time with that. All the time. Okay. All right. So hi, Mr.
That's funny.
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. This is Kristin from Keller Williams Realty. Do you have a minute? Great. I was just calling to ask if you received my letter of introduction in the mail. Now you want to read it slowly and let them answer. Okay. I know when we always like do script practice, everyone just like runs through it. Hi, do you have a minute? Great. I was just, you can't talk, you got to let them talk. And if they start talking to you, you can kind of ditch the
Script.
just the script at some point. You know, if they say, oh yeah, I am thinking about selling, don't go, I was just calling to see if you received my, you know what I mean, my introduction, or, oh good, do you have any questions regarding that? No, I want to list the house. Great, I wanted you to know if I plan on being the realtor of choice. Like, you got to just dump it at some point if you're making good traction with them. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, all right, so we'll go back. So do you have a minute? Let them answer. Great, I was just calling to ask if you received my letter of introduction in the mail. Oh, good. Do you have any questions about that or regarding that? I want you to know that I plan on being the realtor of choice for your neighborhood, and you'll be getting valuable information and items from me going forward. Will that be okay with you? If they say no, then just take them off the list. Don't bother them, okay? Most of the people are not going to say that unless they're just had a really bad day that day, or, you know, they're like, no, I'm a realtor. I'm Steve LeBlanc. I already have my license. Then you probably want to take them off. If you know there are, like in my neighborhood, we had at the time when I started, we had a couple different realtors. I never mailed them anything because I didn't want them to see it.
Right.
I just pretended they didn't live here.
Right.
Okay. If they say yes, thanks. Please keep in mind, if you know anyone who's planning on buying or selling real estate, would you do that for me? Please keep me in mind. Okay, great. You can say buy, sell, or invest in real estate, whatever you want. Okay, great. That's it. Week 3, mailing, door knock. Like if you want to definitely hit the people that you don't have their phone numbers for, you can start door knocking. Not for everybody, but some people have a real good like conversion rate with door knocking. Lisa Axios, really good at door knocking. Bill Stone, really good at door knocking. Like every time Bill goes out, he gets a listing. And I say, why don't you door knock all the time? Because it works every time. Even when it's pouring rain, he'll text me, oh my God, I just got a listing. So some people are really good at it and like doing it. And if you're one of them, go for it. It'll save you from getting the stamp and doing the mailing, right? So it'll be cheaper. Week 4, either a mailer, door knocking, drop off an item of value. Week 5. Okay. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. LeBlanc. This is Kristin from Keller Williams Realty. Hi, Steve. This is Kristin from Keller Williams Realty. Are you in the middle of something? Great. I was just calling today to see if you received the whatever you mailed out in the mail from me. Wonderful. Just curious. Who do you know who's thinking of buying or selling real estate? Now, if they tell you someone, great. Take their name, number, all that. Ask permission for you to call them. If they say nobody, no one, that's fine. I do appreciate you trying to think of somebody. And then smile, because you probably want to frown and go, oh, they don't have anybody, but you got to smile because they'll hear that through the phone. Please call or email me if you know anyone who I can help out. Thanks a lot. Okay? Easy peasy. Okay? Bless you. All right, week 6, mailer or door knock, item of value. So like if you, depending on when you do this, you know, if you want to give out little pumpkins or do a bottle or can drive or a Coke drive, those are just some suggestions you could do if you wanted to do that as well. Okay. Week 7, another mailer or door knock. And then week 8, which is your last phone call. So there's only 3 phone calls here. So it's really not that big of a deal. Okay. Hi, Mr. LeBlanc. This is Kristin from Keller Williams Realty. Have I caught you at a bad time? No, great. I was calling to see if you received blah, blah, blah. Now, if they're not receiving the stuff, you might want to find out why they're not receiving it. Okay. Wonderful. Any questions about that? Well, as you can tell, I'm going to be active in your neighborhood or our neighborhood, right? You can say whatever you want. In the realtor of choice for Millbrook, for Quincy, for whatever. Do you know of anyone who's planning on buying or selling real estate in the next 90 days? Whatever their answer is, not a problem. Is there anything I can do for you or your family? Now, I should really change this because Steve Zvosky said that. And this little old lady called him several times. Can you go to the grocery store and pick me up? And he had to. And then she called and asked him to shovel her driveway. So you may want to say if there is anything real estate related, let me know. So I should just change that, but I always forget it's in here until I start doing the class. Okay, totally. I swear to God that happened. Okay. Take care and I'll be in touch. Thank you for your time. Okay. So that's simple, right? Steve's like, ugh. All right. So now you want to stay in touch. Okay. You want to stay in touch. So you want to put them on like either a 33 touch and or 12 direct. So for your farm, you really want to put them on a 12 direct. But if you start with some relationships in there and like people that you talk to, you want to put them on a 33 touch too. Okay. Because the 12 directs is really for people that you don't know, where 33 touch is for somebody that you do know. But if it's about the neighborhood, the farm area, you want to make sure that those people that are in the farm area that are also in your 33 touch also get the farm area stuff. Does that make sense? Okay. So it says all is on 12 direct, 12 monthly mailers or postcards, and call them 2 to 3 times per year. If you want to do some annual traditions, you can set them yourself. Always know that if you do it once, it's probably going to be awesome and they're going to expect you to do it every time. So be committed to doing it. Like I do flags every year. And this past year, this past year, with COVID, I couldn't get the flags. Like they weren't making them, shipping them out. The place I get them from was closed. Like I was calling everywhere. They were wicked expensive. My husband finally got his guy and we ordered them, and then they came in and they were like plastic. Like the flag part was like, you know what I mean? It wasn't the ones I usually get. And I like was so upset. 'Cause I'm like, these are so cheesy. I was so upset, but I couldn't get anywhere else. And I already had them. They were already shipped to me. And I put them out and not one person said they were cheesy, and everyone was just like raving on how awesome it was. So it's really in my head that they were cheesy, but they were, but they were free and they liked them. So if I don't do the flags, it's going to be noticed. So I have to do them. We have a neighborhood Facebook page. So many people posted on there, tagged me. Thank you so much for the flags. They sent pictures of their dog next to the flags. I put them in everyone's front of their lawns. So when people drove down the street, you could see there's just the flags, two rows of flags all the way through the whole neighborhood. It looks so awesome. And people keep them up to like October or November. Like some people still have them out on their lawn, or they'll move them close to their door. I have my nieces. I had my daughter and her boyfriend do it one year. She went to school last year, so I had my nieces do it. And they just walked around, put the flags out, and I mean, people were like, oh my God, thank you so much. And somebody gave them $10. Someone's got to buy the flag and gave them $10. I'm like, I bought the flags, not you. That's my money. But I just paid them to do it. And they did it a couple hours, and I paid them, I can't like $30 each or whatever. Who cares? I didn't want to do it. But they get so many compliments. People just so excited beeping at them when they were putting them out. So it's a nice thing to do.
Do you attach a business card or something to it?
Yep. So I buy the big flags with the, I don't think I have one here. I think it's in the office, and then what I do is I do a postcard. So I take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, the cardstock.
Yeah.
And I make 4 postcards per page. So I cut that in 4s.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a picture of a flag. And then it says something like, wishing you and your family a happy and safe 4th of July, safe and happy 4th of July. And then I have my picture and all my contact information on it. I put 2 holes, one on the top and one on the bottom. That takes the most time. And then I feed it through the stick and then I stick it in the ground. Because the holes, I have to punch it more than one time. Because the 1 hole punch is too small for the stick. So I have to punch it like 5 times. So it's a pain in the ass because each card's got 10 little punch holes in like a circle. But that's what I do. I think it looks nicer than that. I know Rich Lannon would take his business card and staple it to the flag. just not my gig. I like it the way that mine looks. I just like that better for me. Okay. So if you want to do that, or if you do, you know, pumpkins, if you wanted to send out, you know, pumpkins every, you know, October, whatever. I'd like to probably do an ice cream truck this year for the neighborhood. So I'm going to look into doing something like that. Some people will get dressed up, like have Santa Claus in or whatever. So it really just depends on where your farm is and how much money you want to spend. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay. Another script for the farm would be something like, hi, so-and-so, this is Kristin from Keller Williams Realty. Do you have a minute? My call today to see if you got my postcard about 123 Main Street. So like, let's say you have a listing, okay? Postcard about 123 Main Street that I'm selling. Great, just curious, do you happen to know anyone who would be looking to move into your neighborhood or into our neighborhood? They don't, not a problem at all. Anyone else you know who is looking to move out of the area? I'll have them listen, because again, we don't care if they're selling in the farm, right? I've had clients people that in the farm that I don't even know have referred me their siblings to sell property, like in Quincy. Fine. They know me from the farm. I didn't sell a house in the farm, but I helped a relative sell somewhere else. I'm fine with that too. Okay. So I've gotten a lot of business outside of the farm, not including what I told you for numbers before. Okay. Anyone else you know is looking to move out of the area? Well, thank you for your time. And please keep me in mind if you hear of anyone. Have a great day. And then if you want to invite them to the open house, hey, we're having an open house on Sunday from 12 to 2. You know, I'm going to be there at 11:30 for the neighbor. So if you'd like to come by and take a look at it ahead of time, feel free, you know, that kind of thing. Just be normal. Okay. Awesome. Questions? Does this make you want to do it or not do it now?
No, I want to do it. Thanks, Kristin. So
You
I
do,
do
okay.
have a question. When you do your open houses pre-COVID now, hopefully we'll go back to it.
Hopefully not.
Do you do food for the neighbors? Do you do like a special preview hour an hour before and you have like sandwiches or that's
So
something
that,
I've heard?
so that's a great question. So I'm going to do this first before I forget. I'm going to upload this file in here for you.
Okay.
Hold on one second, because I don't want to forget this. And then I will answer your question. Documents. Class material. Farming for real estate. All right, I just uploaded that there for you guys. Okay. So that's a good question. So when I first started doing this, I would make cookies. By me, I mean my husband, and we would make like cookies like this. And then we would put them in individual bags. And then I printed labels, like return address labels, and it said, freshly baked from our home. Thank you for visiting or coming to visit this home or something like that. And I would give those out. It was time consuming, not terrible, but whatever. And then I ended up after the open house, just finding kids on the street and being like, hey kid, you want a cookie? Cause like nobody took them. I've had candy, I've had stuff there. People they feel weird about doing it. I mean, maybe water, especially if it's hot out, they'll take a water, but it's really hard to give people food, I find. The other thing is like, I've had clients where like they've had white carpets everywhere. And I'm like, I ain't bringing any food in this house, because then they'll walk around eating it. And now we've got chocolate chips in the rug. So anything that I've done, it's been to go, because I didn't want them to eat it in the house. But over the years, I just stopped doing it because it was a waste of time and a waste of money, because nobody, like, either they're going to buy the house or not. It doesn't matter if they eat a cookie or eat a sandwich. You know what I mean? They're either going to like it or not. They're not going to not work with you if you didn't give them food. Because, I mean, honestly, how many open houses do you go to when there's food? I think it's better to be confident, to know your scripts, you know, to know the area, to be able to, you know, talk to them in a way that they feel comfortable to work with you. So when they go to all these other open houses, you were the best one that stood out. I think that's way more important than giving them food. You can give them your I mean, I put my business cards out, pens, all that stuff. They don't really take it. Sometimes I have to force them to take it. So I'll take the MLS sheet and maybe like a mortgage like flyer or whatever, and then I'll put them together, and then I'll attach my pen to that and just hand them out like that as like a packet. I think that's better than the food. But that's just my opinion. And you got to check with your client if you know they allow food to come in. The other thing you want to be careful is food allergies. People have some crazy allergies, and if you give them something, oh God, you know, if they're like, oh, are there peanuts in here or nuts? No, but there really was something in something that was in a peanut factory, and they're that allergic, and now they're in the hospital because of you. Not good. You know, so you got to be careful with that stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? No? Did we learn anything today?
We did.
Yay.
Is that upload in the chat? Is that
Yep.
where-
Yep. Go in the chat. It should be right there.
All
It's a
right.
Word document. Can you
It's
see it?
not for me now.
No? I'll do it again. Can you guys see it?
I
Yes.
see it. Oops, what happened?
Yeah, I'm not able to download it either.
Really? Can you not see it? It
Well, I
says
can
to
see
everybody.
it.
Huh?
I can definitely see it.
So click on it. It should open right up. Did it open up into like behind the Zoom?
Yeah, no, it opens up fine, but I've tried several times to save it
Save as?
and I can't. Well, I just,
Can you see it, Lauren?
No, it's not in my chat at all.
That's so weird. I'm gonna send it to you individually now. I can't send it to you individually. I can only send it to the chat. All right, weird. Let me give you my email address. Shoot me an email and I'll just respond with it.
Okay.
It's Kristin. So Kristin with an I, 2 I's, and then B as in boy, UKER @kw.com.
Okay.
Shoot me an email, I'll just respond.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Anything else? All right. Well, good luck. Let me know if you do choose to do it, how you make out with it. And remember, when you're picking your farm, make sure the numbers make sense. If you're going to pick a farm that hasn't had a sale in like 100 years and think, oh, well, they're all old, they're all going to sell now. I wouldn't hang my hat on that. You
Didn't
know?
work for me.
No, right. I mean, like I never did my parents' neighborhood. I just sold my parents' house and now the neighbor's selling. And then now the neighbor across the street just passed away and the people next to them are going to be selling. So I don't say hopefully that I get, 4 listings there, but if I'd been doing it from time till now, it would have been for nothing. Nothing moved this
Right.
whole time. So, well, like maybe one house, who cares? It's not worth it. So, you want to just make sure that the numbers work and there's enough activity where you can get into production sooner than later. You don't want to wait years to get a house in the neighborhood. Okay. But again, 8 by 8, once a week, 8 weeks, don't miss a week. Be prepared with everything ahead of time, or it's just not worth doing it. It's a waste of your money. If you're just going to mail stuff out and not make a phone call at the beginning, it's a waste of your money and time. Okay.
All right.
Awesome. I'm going to
Thank
go
you,
order my
Kristin.
flags now because I'm getting nervous because it's
Yeah.
March. It's May. All right. Bye, guys. See you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.